All right, my friends, how are we today? A little bit better than that. How are we today? Yay! Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Colley. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator here at the Great Falls Public Library. The Great Falls Public Library is here to connect people and knowledge, and we do that in a variety of different ways. And one of those fun ways is this, Armchair Traveler. Armchair Traveler is brought to you by the Great Falls Public Library Foundation, so thank you to them for funding the food, because really it's a lot to do all of that. But one of the cool things that we are going to be adding to the Armchair Traveler Series starting next month is this lovely Charlie Cart project over here. So the Charlie Cart project is also funded by the Great Falls Public Library Foundation. It is a mobile kitchen. So we're really excited to bring cooking classes in, nutrition classes, things like that for kids mainly, but also for adults, which is my department, so that's great. So the Charlie Cart project comes as a fully functioning kitchen. There's a whole bunch of different ways that we can use it, and it has a whole curriculum guide along with it for the kiddos. So we're really excited to be able to start implementing that here at the Great Falls Public Library. So next month for Armchair Traveler, if anybody wants to watch the chaos of me cooking, then you can come about an hour before the program actually starts. And I'll be in here figuring out how this functions and cooking for you guys. So that will be a lot of fun if you guys want to join for something a little extra, something a little different. You know how we're always trying to switch it up here at the library. So join for that if you want to. Let me tell you, it is chaotic. So buckle up. But as always, there's lots of food in the back for you guys to enjoy, so please feel free to get up at any point in time and get some food or water. Restrooms are out the door to the right in the hallway, emergency exit out the door to the right, and then to the right again. We are super excited to have you all here today as we talk about some of the do's and don'ts of international travel and Iceland. Iceland? Depends on how you say it, I guess. And we have Seth here as our presenter. Seth is a local to Great Falls, and he has done so much traveling, which is why when I was putting the Armchair Traveler together, he was one of my first people that I reached out to, because I knew that he's been doing a lot recently. So this is really exciting to have him here. Thank you all for being here, and take it away.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Sarah. And thanks for making all the food as well. So that's nice of you. So I figured this is going to be real interactive, so ask me questions throughout or just shout things if you want to. That's fine with me. My name is Seth Lutter. I've been in Great Falls for almost 20 years now. In August, traveled to Iceland. It's one of the places I always kind of wanted to go to, just because it has kind of I always thought it had an interesting vibe to it. Earlier in the year, I went to Kenya for 2 weeks, and I did a Kenyan safari. I did that in March. So every single year, usually I go and I do an international trip, 1 or 2, just because I don't have kids and I can, so it helps. But I'm going to go through a couple of little fun things. So, we're talking about a little bit of like do's and don'ts, or at least information about international travel. And so there's certain things that I look at. You said this did have a laser pointer on it?
It does, the red button.
Right there.
I didn't see the screen, that's all.
So different things like, and if you also, well actually, quick question first. Has anybody here been to Iceland before? Perfect, okay. When did you go?
3 years ago?
3 years, okay. So when I'm going through my experience, definitely tell me what yours is as well. Anybody want to go to Iceland that hasn't gone to Iceland yet? Oh, there's quite a few. Perfect. Okay, good. So whenever I go on a trip, if it is Iceland or Kenya or Egypt or wherever else I've been, I always kind of have a little list of, okay, what am I going to this place for? And I love seeing architecture, and I love seeing different kinds of scenery. There's kind of my main 2 things that I go for. So if I'm doing any sort of international travel, I kind of make sure I'm hitting my tops. People in culture, love people in culture, and I also love the food. That is one of the other main things I go to whenever I go to a country. I'm going to try everything. If it's snake or camel or whatever it is, I'm going to try it because I'm there. Why not? Modes of travel, obviously, tons of different things. I've been on midnight trains from Marrakesh to, who knows, Casablanca. Love going on all the different types of travel, different kinds of modes. One of the ones I wanted to focus on right here, though, is the different types of experiences or tours. I've been on small group tours, and I have a slide about that in a second. Usually a small group tour is anybody of 16 people or less. There's big tours, that's huge buses of 30, 50, 100 people. There's private tours. It kind of depends on what you like. Personally, I've realized, I've done all of them. There's also ones like Iceland. I didn't go on a tour, I just did it by myself. I rented a car, I drove around. I love going on small group tours. And there's kind of a couple of reasons why. One of them is most of the small group tours that I have been a part of, I'm the only American that goes on those. Most of the companies I go with, they're out of Australia, because everybody else in the world travels more than people in the United States do. And so there's tons of tour companies out there that small tour groups. And I love going on tours where I'm the only American, so I can learn all about their culture. They ask me stupid questions about mine. It's great. And then you can keep on having conversations with them, and you basically make really good friends, especially when you're camping out in Kenya for 2 weeks. You're going to make a lot of friends. So different types of experiences, different types of tours is really something to kind of look into. Depends on what you're interested in. In Iceland, I'll just say, you don't really need a tour. You can go by yourself. You can rent a car. You can drive. Everything's on the right-hand side, driving-wise, just like it is over here. Everything is really simple. Everybody knows English, which is also really helpful. Time of year is always a big one. It kind of depends on what you're going for, and if you want to go in the busy season, which is more expensive, if you want to go kind of on the shoulder season, if you don't mind going in the rainy season. A lot of times I just Google the country and best time to go, and just kind of see what it looks like. I've been to Egypt and Jordan a couple of times. You don't want to go when it's really, really hot, at least I don't. So you just kind of figure out what the best time of year is for yourself. I also love seeing animals. So like when I went to Kenya, giraffes, elephants, all those kind of things. I think it's a blast to go and see different kinds of animals that we would only be able to see in the zoo. And then I look at obviously what the cost is. And these are kind of ways that I determine where I want to go. I also like going to places, so this is a little nerdy thing about myself. I'm a big Universal horror fan, like the old Frankenstein and Dracula movies, Bela Lugosi and all those. So I like to go to all those places where they film those movies. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So been to Dracula's castle in Romania and things like that. It's kind of fun for me. So, it just depends on what you are interested in, what kind of pulls you to travel. These are the things that pull me. So what are some things that you guys are you really interested in seeing? Is it the scenery? Is it animals? Is it different kinds of experiences?
Food.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want to see a fjord.
You want to see a fjord? There we go.
In Alaska.
Okay. Who doesn't love a good old fjord? Yeah. Anybody else?
I want to ride horses there.
See, that's cool. In Iceland, they have Icelandic courses, which is a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. It's a big thing over there, so that was kind of cool. I like going scuba diving, so any place I go, I like to try to find a scuba diving location. So it's always good just to kind of see what the location can offer for you. I grabbed this, so I always go to Google Flights. There used to be a whole bunch of other websites you could go to, but Google Flights is a really nice, compact, easy way to figure out what flights look like. And look at them on a regular basis. There's little tips here. Wednesdays are always the best days for flight deals. A lot of times you can find international flight deals on or around American holidays that are not international holidays. Thanksgiving, for instance, you can usually find a pretty good deal internationally because they don't care about Thanksgiving. And being that people travel domestically during Thanksgiving, there's not a lot of international travel, so you can usually find a pretty good deal. That's something fun. I also look through, I'm going to Nashville in 2 weeks. This is when I'm going. And so, looking at a Great Falls, what does the price look like? Or I look at a Bozeman. Bozeman always has cheaper prices than Great Falls, depends if you really want to do the drive. The nice thing is Great Falls is a heck of a lot better than it used to be. 5 years ago, when I went to Egypt and Jordan the first time, I drove up to Calgary because it was saving me $500. Now I can get basically the same price from Great Falls or Bozeman, and we're actually cheaper than Calgary now. So Great Falls right now has really good prices on flights. Also though, be flexible. So what I did is I grabbed Great Falls and I said, I want to take a trip in the next 6 months, a 2-week trip in the next 6 months, and these are the prices in Europe for a round-trip ticket. If you'll notice, they're all right around the same price or less expensive than me going to Nashville. So you can go to Dublin for $477 round trip out of Great Falls. Everybody thinks that international trips are expensive. They do not have to be. Most of my family lives in Florida, and for me to go and visit my family in Florida, it's $700 to $800. And that's just for 4 days because I can't stand my family more than 4 days. So if you look at this, all of this is cheaper than me going to Florida. You can go to Athens for $558. If you've never been to Athens, it's one of the coolest places in the entire world.
This is if you left on Wednesday.
This is, so Wednesday, the day that you look at flights is Wednesday, is when you look at them cheaper. They actually increase prices on Fridays and Mondays, just if you're looking, not even if you're booking. And it's not when you leave, it's just when you look. So Wednesdays, they're cheaper, Fridays and Mondays are more expensive because people are like, oh, I want to do something this weekend, or I'm burnt out because it's Monday. The airlines jack up prices on Mondays and Fridays. So it's the exact same airplane, exact same flight, but they will shift the prices depending on the day of the week.
So people will actually say, I'm bored this weekend and take a flight and go somewhere?
Some people have. I know. But this is a perfect example of, this is a 2-week trip out of Great Falls. This isn't out of some crazy airport. And you can go to Barcelona for $544. International flights are not that expensive. I flew from Bozeman direct to New York, and then from New York direct to Iceland. So it only took me 2 flights to get there, whereas it takes me 2 flights to get to Minneapolis right now, because we don't have a direct to Minneapolis, right? So it's not as difficult, it just takes more time. So I also subscribe to a online, I get emails every single other day from an online company called going.com. And I get these emails, and I put in Great Falls or Bozeman or Missoula or local airports, and I get these emails saying, hey, you want to fly to Dublin between October and May? We found flights for $527. Or Greece or Spain or Portugal. So it's really fun for me to get these emails because it's like, oh, this kind of gives you some inspiration of cool places you might want to go. So for me, it really helps, but it's called going.com. And it's just kind of, it gives me a little inspiration for places. And when you put in your own airports, it pulls flights that you can book from Great Falls. And then I was talking about kind of smaller trips as well. So there's a company called Intrepid Travel, which I've used like 5 times. You nod your head so you know about them.
They come to where I work.
Oh, okay. Where do you work?
Interpreter Center.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So Intrepid is awesome. I've used them like 5 or 6 times. And the reason why is, like, I've done this exact trip twice. The Jordan and Egypt Express. It was $1,400. It was 9 days. It covers hotel, food, travel, not the airport or airplane to get there, but everything within the country for $1,400 for 9 days. Again, not that bad. What's fun is they have a ton of different kinds, and this is just one company that does this. There's tons of different kinds of companies that do this. And like I said, this is one I've used numerous times just because I'm the only American that's usually on that, which is always great. There's 12 people or so. I've actually been on one, the one I did here last time, which was only 2 years ago. Me and my partner were the only 2 people on it. Everybody else wasn't there, so we just had us and then the tour guide that took us around, and we went on boats and trains and all this stuff. So kind of looking at how to travel, one, know that it's not as expensive as it used to be or not as expensive as you might think it is. Knowing where to look to see what the prices are and what kind of days of the week to book is hugely important. And then also just kind of getting out of your comfort zone and doing it. Going to weird places that you might have always wanted to go, why not? It's fun. It's fun to travel. It's fun to see different things. So with that, I was going to talk about Iceland. Okay. So this is my route that I took. I flew in to Reykjavik, right there, and I rented a car and I drove that route in 3 days. Pretty easy. Everything's on the right-hand side. It's basically like a Montana highway. It's one lane each way. Everybody's only going 50 miles an hour, which drives me crazy though. But there's tons of stops along the way. What this is called the Golden Circle. And on it, there's tons of different stops for people to see. Iceland is known as the land of 10,000 waterfalls because there's waterfalls everywhere. What's really cool about Iceland is, and it has a feeling of like old gods and like Vikings, like it has that feeling to it because there's glaciers over in this area, but then there's also volcanoes right here. So you could be driving down the road and there's steam coming up from the side of the road because there's a volcano right around there, which is where the Blue Lagoon is heated right here. People have heard about the Blue Lagoon from the volcanic activity around there. So it's really cool. This is actually how big Iceland is, and that's just how big the little golden circle part is that I took. Iceland, however, is not a very big country. All around, it's about 800 miles to drive the entire circle of Iceland. But there's really nothing here. There's basically things here, a little bit here, and then maybe a little bit up there. So a lot of this is just barren land. And little villages here or there, but there's really not a lot going on in Iceland apart from the west coast and the south. Do you agree?
Yes.
Perfect. So
what kind of industries or what do people?
So the largest industry that I saw when I was there was tourism. Everything is based around the tourist, which I was kind of surprised about. I didn't think it was going to be that way. Fishing's a big thing over there, but really tourism is, I want to say, if not the biggest industry, that they have the second biggest. Do you have any other insight there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, fishing and like the lambs too over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of like the horses and things like that, a little bit of agriculture.
Yeah, a little agriculture, but for the most part, it's fishing and it's tourism. The Golden Circle that I mentioned, these are all the different spots. There's tons of different things here, of different geysers, volcanoes, glaciers, waterfalls everywhere. This is basically a quick little rundown of my trip. So I arrived, explored the city. Second day, I grabbed a bus from the city and I went scuba diving at a place called the Silfra Fisher. I'll have a picture of that in a second. And then I rented a car and I drove to Golden Circle. I stayed in a place called Hella. And then kept on driving, explored another town, finished the rest of the Golden Circle. I went to the Blue Lagoon, did some whale watching, and then I went back to Reykjavik, chilled, and then I flew home. So I only really was there for 6 days, and in my opinion, 6 days is plenty of time that you need in Iceland. It's not really one of those places, I don't think, personally, that I could have stayed, like, I couldn't stand being there for 2 weeks.
Did you have your whole trip all planned out, or were you flying by the seat of your pants?
I am not a seat of the pants flyer. I have Excel spreadsheets for everything. So I created exactly where I'm going to stay. I booked Airbnbs. I'm a planner. I'm 100% a planner. So I was excited because I was looking forward to the architecture, the scenery, the activities, the food, and the animals. So those were the reasons why I wanted to go there.
So what was their food that, fish, I suppose?
Fish, yeah. Kind of, that's, you're getting ahead of me. So this right here is basically what Sarah graciously made for us. So soup, and they also had waffles with jam on them as kind of appetizers. Like they were just kind of, someone would come out, throw a stack of waffles, and then people just kind of rush to it as like an appetizer. And their soup, very similar to today's soup. If you finish it, you just go up and get more. And then if you finish it, you go up and get more. And then so on and so forth. So it's kind of an all-you-can-eat soup country.
Are the berries domestic?
The berries? I'm not sure.
Winged berries or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the jam was. It was very tart, but I'm not really sure what it was. So for me, like I said, I was basically there for a solid 5 days. Landed, like first day, landed, rent a car right away, grab some food, soup and waffles, and then explore the city. The city is Reykjavik, which is their big city, main city. Like half the population lives there. It's a fun little city. It's kind of compact. I didn't really find that there was too awful much to do there. So it's one of those, you get there, you kind of get your bearings, and then you get the hella out.
So which city would be comparable to Reykjavik for us?
Maybe like Helena,
Really?
maybe?
It's that small?
It feels very, very small. Yeah, it feels very, very small. So I was really looking forward to really fun architecture. And what was fun is it did feel like I don't know if I could really say it was like Helena because it definitely felt like a seaside town, but it was bigger, but it didn't have huge skyscrapers and things like that either. Like it had, reasonable sized buildings. But I was excited because they painted a lot of their buildings black, and I thought that was really fun. And it rained almost the entire time I was in Reykjavik, though. So it's one of those where if you go to Iceland, you got to pack for every single season, even if you're going in the middle of summer. It's just making sure that you know that things are going to change every 30 minutes.
What month were you there this time?
I was there August 1st through August 6th. So kind of right in the summerish time. It was pretty rainy and windy, but it kind of felt good too. Like Iceland feels like a place that you should be in the rain. I don't know, it has that kind of culture to it, kind of feel to it. So fun, a really cool, weird little architecture everywhere. They had this road called the Rainbow Road that goes up to this kind of spire. All the buildings are, dark. A lot of them made out of wood. It just kind of feels, again, like you think Iceland would feel. I was surprised. I was going to go there thinking that they were going to have a lot more like Viking-esque things, and they really didn't. I was kind of surprised by that. I was thinking that it was going to be more Viking-themed, even for tourists like me who would have loved the heck out of it. But yeah, it was just kind of everyday people doing their everyday stuff, and a ton of tourists. They also had a Big Lebowski bar. I thought that was fun. So they over there love themselves some Big Lebowski. I don't know why, but I thought that was funny. And then I'm a big fan of graffiti in other countries. I just think it's fun. So I always take pictures of graffiti whenever I see it, especially when it's not in English as well, which is always fun. So I also went to the Penis Museum that's in Reykjavik. I had to share this because I thought it was really funny. It's like one of their big things is a penis museum. And they have a ton of different kinds of penises from a ton of different animals and humans in this thing, in jars, everywhere. There's a ton of, it's like you walk in, you're like, holy crap. Yeah, it is really funny. Did you go when you went? Oh, it's so funny. It's everywhere. It's so funny. And it was, I just had a blast. But they have mice penises. It's so weird. It's such a weird little place. And then I left Reykjavik. And this is where I went scuba diving. That's this little guy. So what's fun about the Silfra Fisher is these two areas right here are where the North American continent and Eurasia continent split. And so there's actually two separate continents right there that you can touch both sides of the continents when you're swimming through. I had to get dry suit certified to get in there because it's all glacier water, and it is super cold. And there was 4 of us diving, and one gal said that she basically almost passed out from how cold it was because it was freezing. But it was a fun experience. Something to note, and I'll probably come back to this 63 times later, is Iceland is not inexpensive. Nothing about Iceland is inexpensive. It is the most expensive country I've ever been to. And that does weigh pretty heavy on the enjoyment of going to a country, is how much money you're actually spending and not know what you're going to spend. Yeah, so like doing something like scuba diving would cost 3 times as much over there than it does over here. Buying a sandwich and a cup of soup and like a soda would be $43 over there. So anything is going to be 2 to 3 times the price. Yes.
So for diving, did you have to prove you were certified when you went and then get dry suit certified?
I had to get dry suit certified beforehand. So I actually did here at Great Falls.
Got
We have A to Z Scuba, and so they did the dry suit certification for me. But yeah, like the dive was 30 minutes, and it cost like $400, which is way more than if you went any place in the United States. So just know that every single thing that happened in this was really expensive. And it's way more expensive than, like anything, like think of any price here in Great Falls, times it by 3, and that's what it would be over there. Not for anything spectacular, just for anything at all. So one of the waterfalls, so basically a lot of these places you go to on the Golden Circle that I showed you earlier, tons of different waterfalls. You can jump in the water if you wanted to. Like it feels very natural and very like national park-esque. Most of the places you park, you have to pay for, and it's like $6 or $7 to park to go and look at something. But it was still kind of a fun experience there. But like, there's just everywhere. Anywhere you look, there's going to be waterfalls. There's going to be really cool, weird scenery to see.
Do they use the euro or do they?
They have their own money
Oh.
over there. The Icelandic krona, I want to say is what it is. It's been a couple months, but I want to say that's what it is. I didn't even have to exchange any money when I went. Every place took credit card. So I was able to swipe anywhere. I don't mind exchanging money if I have to at certain places. Like when I went to Cuba, you have to exchange money, and all of their money, it's a 1 to 2. So for every single dollar, it's 2 US over there. And you have to use cash. Here, I didn't have to use cash, so I didn't have any extra Icelandic money that I had to then re-convert over. So using a credit card or a debit card was a heck of a lot easier. What's fun, I said to one of these little guys. So this was just a fun little excursion off the beaten path to stay, and if it was nice and clear, it would have been nice, but it was pretty cloudy. But there were some Icelandic horses, like, oh yeah, there's a couple right here you can kind of see. Just kind of roaming around. So it was a fun, weird little place to stay, and they did have these shades, so you could close it at night so no one was looking at you, so that was nice. But there's an entire row, as you can see here, and then an entire row over there. So it's, fun, different experiences that you can do over there that you can't necessarily do over here. You have to go and search for. This was a picture I took. It's kind of just a long shot. Right here's a glacier.
Where is this?
Thanks, Kelly. So over here's a glacier, and there's people, all these people with the hard hats are walking, and they're going on the glacier, and they're having a good old trek. I did not decide to go and do that. Again, everything you do is really expensive. So you just got to know everything you do is really expensive. So they were doing that, but you can still, I could still walk there. Like I walked all the way over here and just kind of looked at it. It's just cool to see that there's a glacier right there. All the black stuff is all from the volcano eruption from a couple of years ago. So that's all ash, basically, from the volcano, which doesn't obviously help the glacier, staying ice because the sun's going to hit it, it's going to be black, and it's going to melt it even more. But there's a lot of these glaciers around, and then there's, they create lakes, they create different kinds of streams that go certain places. So the entire place feels and looks like this, which is pretty fun.
So could you have got a fishing guide and gone fishing?
Oh, probably, yeah. I did not.
No,
I did
clearly.
not, but clearly. But you probably could have. This one, Gullfoss, there you go. This is also one of my fun old pictures. So yeah, that's just tons, it just goes down and down, like hundreds of feet down there for the waterfall. These are just those stops on that golden circle. Every single one of them is like this. It's big, it's massive. And you can go and interact with it and go up there where all those people are and splashes go and you're just having a great time. So it's very fun. It's a very fun, scenic area to look at. And a ton of these kind of waterfalls. This was one of my favorites called Vic. This is where they have Black Sand Beach. I've never seen a Black Sand Beach before. But it was just like pitch black just for as far as the eye can see in that direction. And then they have just, you know, rocks coming out of the water. And it just, again, it feels very like old god kind of feel, like very Viking-esque. Yeah, I'd never really seen black sand, which I thought was pretty fun. Yeah. And then the Blue Lagoon. So the Blue Lagoon is probably the #1 spot that people go to when they go to Iceland. It is it's a spa basically now. And so you go in there and you get a little wristband and you get checked in. And you put your clothes away, you have to take a shower, and then you can get into this. And it's just super warm water because it's being heated by the volcanic activity that's around. It's supposed to be really good for your skin because of all the silicon that's in the water, and they give you like a little mask for your face. A lot of people stay there for hours and hours. I think I stayed there for about 3 hours. I didn't bring my phone into it because, water. But people were just walking around, like swimming, walking around. There was kids. It was a fun, weird place. It does have that blue, like it's called the Blue Lagoon because it does have a blue teal look to it everywhere. It's really cool looking, and it's constantly like 70-something degrees. So very similar to our hot springs here, but just heated by volcanic activity, and then everything is lightly blue.
How much is it to get in?
Good question. I want to say it was probably like $90. Maybe it's 150. Yeah, I don't think it was 150. That seems high to me. But I want to say it was probably in maybe low hundreds. Yeah. Okay. And then when I went back to Reykjavik, so I came back, I dropped the car off, and then I decided to go whale watching. So this is me watching for whales. Very windy, very cold, but of course you're in Iceland, why wouldn't it be? And saw probably like a dozen different whales. Like they didn't jump out of the water and splash or anything, but their tails came up and down. And I learned that a whale's tail, I don't know the technical term for it. Thank you. It's like a fingerprint, so every single one is different than another. I thought that was really fun. So if you spot one, you can actually go to a website and like upload the picture, and they can be like, oh, this one was spotted over here. Its name is Charlie. And that's kind of fun. But this was a kind of a fun experience. Like I said, saw probably like a dozen different whales. And then I had to go get myself some mead afterwards, which is always fun to do. So Iceland had one of the weirdest ways of purchasing alcohol that I've ever seen. So not that you have to purchase alcohol, but a lot of people, when they came in at the airport, they would go to the duty free and they'd get a 12-pack, which would be $40. A 12-pack of beer would be $40. And then, so a lot of people were like loading up on beer at the airport because that was the cheapest place you could go. For me, I didn't know really where to go, and I was like, I want to try different Icelandic drinks and just kind of see. You can't buy them anywhere, but you can go to certain spots that look like it's in somebody's garage, and then you have to go there and then order online from their code, and then the person goes into the back of their garage and then grabs the individual beers that you wanted, puts them in a box, and then brings them out to you. It's very weird, very, very weird. And again, everything is very expensive. So one beer at a bar would be $18. So, conclusion of, specifically, Iceland, looking, and I saw tons of really good scenery. Scenery was really the killer. Like, it was awesome. There was so much stuff there that you wouldn't see anywhere else because of all the different volcanic activity, because of the glaciers, all these types of things. The architecture was okay. It wasn't great. It was kind of fun to see some spires and things. But I think that, like, overall, it worked out pretty well. I was like, okay, those are some of the things I really liked. the people in the culture were okay, but to be honest, I saw more tourists than I actually saw people that lived there. Think of it like going to Disney World is kind of what it felt like to me. The prices felt like Disney World, and when you're walking around, you're just seeing other people that are also at Disney World. The people that live there are just kind of manning shops and doing those kind of things. So the people in the culture is like, okay, like I didn't really experience a lot of that. I didn't feel like I did. I didn't feel like I had the Iceland Viking kind of experience, even though I drove the car and I did all that for a few days. The food wasn't anything amazing, unfortunately. I was really hoping for more. Mainly it was fish, and a lot of times they would have fish and they would kind of mash it into like a mashed potato, and that's something that they would serve. One thing that I had sent to Sarah is they do fermented shark. That's one of the foods that they have there. I don't think you could find fermented shark here.
Outside of the library budget.
Yeah. But fermented shark people confuse it with cheese because it has the same texture as cheese and it has a really strong odor, like a really smelly cheese. And they sell them in the grocery stores in like little containers. But yeah, it's kind of weird. So food really wasn't huge. It didn't really do anything for me when I was there. Type of experiences that they have, like I went scuba diving, I had a good time. Icelandic horses were everywhere. There was a lot of horse riding that people could do. Just kind of like action activities if people wanted to go get a four-wheeler and drive on the black sand beach. They had those kind of things, which is fun if that's something that you like. So I was like, okay, that was pretty good. Animals. So all I saw were whales and puffins when I was there. I saw no land animals whatsoever. Like, even driving, I didn't see anything. So I was I was hoping to see something else, animal-wise. But on the boat, I did see whales and a ton of puffins that were just kind of flying around, so that was kind of nice. But yeah, apart from horses and puffins and whales, there was no other animal that I even noted. I didn't even see a squirrel, like there was nothing. So for Iceland, little tips and tricks for you. So as I mentioned, like raincoats were huge over there, but it's also planning for any season, no matter what month that you're there. So dress warm, dress light, have a raincoat with you, have a hat, do all those things, because 10 minutes later you might be putting it on, or 10 minutes later you might be taking it off. Also, renting a car immediately. So the first day I didn't rent the car. I rented the car the second day. The first day I was like, I don't really know how this is going to go. I'm going to get a taxi. I'm going to take it in. The taxi's going to be $80. So and that's to and from places. So it was just super expensive to get around. So renting a car was the best. Gas is about 3 times the price that it is here. But at the same time, that's a lot cheaper than taking taxis.
You only put 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, 50 miles, that was the worst. I like to drive really fast, and I could not drive really fast over there. It's like when you drive up to Canada, you go to Calgary, and you go in 85, and you're like, oh, I'm having a great time. And then you hit the border, and then you go across, and then it's 110 kilometers, which is 67 miles an hour, and it looks exactly like it did in Montana, and you just slow down 20 miles an hour, it drives me crazy. But, yeah, so... it is the company that you choose as well, so this was fun. When I went to Kenya, so I went to Kenya in April, met some really cool people, had a great time, met people from the UK, met people from Australia. We have this WhatsApp group that we were just talking. I sent a message saying, hey, I'm going to go to Iceland. Anybody want to go to Iceland with me? So a teacher that she taught school in the UK. She's like, I'm not doing anything. So she came out for like 3 days, and we hung out in Iceland for like 3 days. And because she just had nothing else going on, and she went and did her thing after, so we just kind of met up in the middle and separated, which was really fun. But she just wanted to go. She'd never been there before, neither had I. And so she wanted to go see Icelandic horses, and we went, let's hang out. So it's really fun to connect with people that like to travel and that know how to travel. Because it's also learning from their experiences as well, which is one of the biggest things that I've learned from others is, where do you like to go? Why do you like to go there? Tell me more about it. So it's a fun thing being able to connect with that. And then the cost, holy crap. So actually, I reached out to my friend who met me over there for a few days. And I said, so what are some tips that you would offer people? And she said the same, and then she said, just know that like the cost of Iceland, and I know this sounds kind of silly, but the cost of Iceland takes away the enjoyment of Iceland because it is so expensive. And because every single time you stop it, you're like, I need to eat. Oh, well, I know if I, like 2 bagels, $43. And so it takes away the enjoyment of that. Like I started going to grocery stores because I wanted to not spend so much on everyday stuff. And especially when you have gone to, like, one of my favorite places I've been here a couple times is Belize. I love Belize. It's probably one of the top 3 favorite countries of all time. They speak English over there. That's their first language as well. And everything over there is super cheap. People there are super nice. Going to Iceland, everything was very expensive. I didn't really see a lot of people, like everyday people. And it was just kind of, it felt a little rigid, a little cold. So I gave it a C+. It's an okay country. I was a little disappointed in a couple of things. Again, I like the scenery. I didn't really get to experience the people too often much. The food really wasn't much. The experiences were fun. The cost takes away a lot of the enjoyment. If the cost was like here, this would be a solid B+, no question. But being that the cost was, I spent more on this trip than I did in Kenya, and I spent 2 weeks in Kenya. It damages your opinion of things. So Iceland was okay, and it's some really fun scenery, but I kind of give it a C+. I wouldn't go back again. It was an okay country. I think that's me. That's my presentation. But I don't want to end on a sad note. So I like your opinion as well on kind of the goods and the bads of your time in Iceland.
My time was different because I actually went with a group, like a tour group. So like our bus driver and our guide were both Icelandic. So we just got a lot of like the behind the scenes information.
That's good.
And that kind of stuff. So, and like hitting some of the highlights and stuff that they would recommend. And it was, we specifically went for the Northern Lights.
Mm-hmm.
So we were out every night looking for that too, and we were successful. So
Good.
I really enjoyed my time when I was there. We still talk to some of the people that we
See, it's fun to do that. Yeah,
Yes.
to really, you can make good connections and good friends when you can connect that way. Yeah. Cool. And what time of year did you go?
It was February, March,
Okay.
around that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. How big was your group?
I'd probably say like 25.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
not a bad size.
Yeah, a lot of Australians.
Yeah, a lot of Australians and New Zealanders, they travel like no one. On my first trip that I ever took, I went to Egypt and Jordan, and there were this couple, and he was a firefighter in Australia.
Did he pose with cats?
He didn't, well, he probably did. I didn't. I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, I'm not looking, come on. But what's funny over there is he hit 20 years of being a firefighter, and for 20 years of being a firefighter, he gets 6 months off. And then he had already banked like another 6 months. So they took an entire year, and they had just big backpacks on the back, little backpacks on the front, and they traveled the entire world for a year because they could. And that's something that other places do that the United States really does not do too awful much. What about tips for Iceland?
From what I remember, I thought that all that was included, but I mean, it's just the cost of living so high there. When we were in Reykjavik, our guy did mention that the best paying job there was the government jobs. No private industry, the government jobs are the best paying.
No.
And then just stuff like that was interesting.
Yeah.
Different from here.
Yes, very much so.
How long did you go for?
We went for a little over a week.
Yeah. So you can get there I think it cost me $700 to get to Iceland. And that was through Bozeman. I went from Bozeman to New York over. Again, it has really cool, there's so much cool things, the scenery and everything, and renting a car and kind of having your own experience is really fun. Obviously going with a group also is really fun. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for in a trip. So it has some cool aspects to it. The aspect for me that just kind of drug it down a little bit was the cost, but like I said, apart from that, it would have been a solid B+. I would have had a really good time.
What about tipping?
Tipping, I don't remember that being a thing. I don't think so. Mm-mm. No, other countries definitely, tipping, not so much in Iceland. A lot of countries, especially like European countries, don't do the tipping at all.
How does it compare to like other Scandinavian countries?
I have never been to like Finland or Sweden or any of those, no? Has anybody been to any of the kind of Icelandic?
I've been to Norway.
Norway? Okay. How did you like Norway?
Well, I have a lot of relatives over there.
Okay.
We're going to Sweden next month, so come back.
Nice.
Expecting chocolate, just saying.
Just kidding.
Expecting a presentation.
So what's bringing you to Sweden?
No, like we as a group, Armchair Travelers. I'm not leaving
You're
Great
not.
Falls. Yet.
What's with, I'm not familiar with the Icelandic horses. What, is that a thing? Are they extra large?
They are
wide?
They're ponies.
Yeah.
They're adults, but they look like ponies. So there's interesting rules around them. So you can't actually take an Icelandic pony off of Iceland and then bring it back because they don't want it to mix with the other ones and give disease or anything else. There's Icelandic ponies here that people have exported, but they're supposed to be super expensive. They're just kind of cute. Like they're just cute horses because they look like big ponies.
And they're wild? They're just, or not necessarily?
I think it's mainly like you can see them in fields, but I think it's probably people that own them and they're having them on people go and they ride them or something like that.
They
Yeah.
do have like a unique trot too, like American horses have like 3 different kinds of speeds and they have a 4th gear. That's different. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun to just kind of see them in the fields like roaming around. It was kind of fun. It was very idyllic. Yeah.
Are they all different colors or?
The ones I saw mainly brown and black, like the darker colors. Like I didn't see anything lighter color. I don't know about you, but it's been a while.
I
Yeah.
think one of the ones in the background of your picture was like a lighter color, like
Was
a
it?
lighter gray, I think.
Yeah.
So you at least saw one. If
You
you
saw
don't
one.
remember,
If
yeah.
you did that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, the Icelandic horses are really cool looking.
So, well, we've been in that nature preserve, there's like a Fjallbaka nature preserve around that circle.
You go back. Woo, woo. There we go. Ooh, that's a lot.
Can you move
I
past
think I
it?
did. Oh, there we
There, the nature reserve.
go. Oh, this guy over
We might
here.
have seen some critters there, eh?
They probably could have seen some critters over there. I was just kind of surprised that this entire time I was driving,
Right.
I didn't see nothing. It was
We're
like
on the nature
horses.
reserve.
Well, I mean, let me tell you, there's a lot of nothing between these spots. Yeah, there's not a lot of like little towns you have to drive to. Like in Montana, you drive from Great Falls to Helena and you hit, different spots. There's really nothing in between a lot of these areas. It's pretty empty.
I read a lot of Scandinavian noir.
Mm.
Quite a few of them are set in Iceland.
Joe Nesbo?
Ah, can't say. Yelly yellers.
So Rhonda Pizzazz sells Icelandic chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Is it compared to the chocolate that you have there?
Probably. So Icelandic chocolate is a thing, and they had, what do they say about it? It's like, volcanic this or that. Like volcanic is in all of their chocolate stuff. So I brought a couple bars home, and yeah, I mean it's good. It's good chocolate. Yeah, but most chocolate's better than anything in the United States. So yeah.
And aren't there just Icelandic sheep or there's wool? And
So-
some gorgeous sweaters.
Yeah, Icelandic sheep is a thing. I actually didn't see very many, if any. Like I remember seeing, they just probably just look like sheep. They didn't, because if you Google it, like they have huge amounts of their wool. Thank you. But the Icelandic sweaters are everywhere, and they're $400 or something as well. But they're very cool looking.
So out of all the places you've gone, where would you, I'm going back there for sure. Which one would that be?
So I've been to Athens, Greece twice, and I absolutely love Greece. I love the Mediterranean feel, the people, the food, the vibe, everything over there. So, yeah.
Santorini has black sand.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I've never been to Santorini. Yep. I love it. So, yeah, anything that kind of has a really relaxed vibe is kind of where I like to travel. So Belize being one that I could live in Belize probably. I love it. Any other questions?
Where is Belize?
Belize is in Central America. So it's off of Mexico and Guatemala. So it's sea-based.
Very friendly people.
Very friendly.
About that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's go dark. What's the worst place? Never go back.
Iceland.
So I took a trip. I did Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey. And it wasn't bad. It was just boring. I really like Turkey. Turkey's awesome. Smoking hookah in Turkey, in Istanbul, is pretty badass. But like Romania didn't really have a ton apart from like Dracula's Castle thing. Bulgaria didn't really have a lot going for it. All of its food is basically just different kinds of sausage. So yeah, it was just kind of a little like, I could have done better. How about anybody here? Best travel experience of places that you've been, like your favorite? Anything?
Israel.
Israel? Okay.
New
When did you go
Zealand.
there?
Oh, let's see, about 7 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, that one's on my list. Not right now, but it's on my list. Yeah.
You have New Zealand too.
New Zealand? Okay.
It's like Montana with an ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard it's awesome. I have never been to New Zealand. If I did, I would definitely, yeah. I have some friends that love it.
I'd say Kenya.
Kenya?
Did
Yeah.
a safari on
Yeah.
Masai Mara.
Uh-huh. Oh, I loved it. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Italy? Yeah.
Portugal.
Venice, so Venice is the most magical place I think I've ever been to. It feels like it's otherworldly, and it has a weird vibe to it. It just doesn't feel like it's part. It feels like it's steampunk, right? So it doesn't feel like it's part of the world. So Venice is one of those I could definitely go back to, just because it has a magical vibe.
Except for the word size.
Portugal was nice.
Portugal? See, I've never been. I heard Portugal's awesome. Yeah.
It's just there.
Oh, were you? Okay.
It's pretty,
Oh, wow. Okay.
it's
Nice.
pretty inexpensive, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was very expensive,
Yeah.
very just calm.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I like. Calm. How about places that you've been? I know that we're going to hit the time in just a second. Places you've been that has kind of it has a vibe to you. Like it gives you vibey feelings. Anything?
Morocco.
Morocco?
Mhm.
Yeah. Where
That
in
was
Morocco?
a lot of fun. Just over the border from France.
Okay.
It was
Tangier.
it was bright. It was exciting. It was a lot of fun, and everybody was super kind.
Yeah. Yeah. Morocco's awesome.
Peru are really nice too.
Which ones?
Peru.
Peru? Yeah. I've never been to Peru.
Very nice people.
Yeah.
Iran.
Oh, yeah. That's a fun one.
Spent a few months in Ukraine back in the day.
Okay.
Just when the wall fell and whatnot.
Yeah.
It was for me very disconcerting as being a college student, where one person standing on the sidewalk looks like they could be in any city anywhere, and the person right next to them looks like Babushka, who just walked out of National Geographic.
Yeah.
So just the combinations of people in one place
Yeah.
isn't what you would see here anywhere.
Yeah.
Like we're driving from town to town, I thought I was in central Wisconsin again. It is all that perfect the same.
That's cool.
I was in the Czech Republic right after the wall went down,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like walking into a totally different world.
Yeah.
And so they were just starting to come alive, and the artists were just the murals and that you were literally in the old world. The St. Charles Bridge was just covered with soot, and then you would go to a different part of town, and it was just like, the artists had taken over.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like now, but then it was.
What's your job?
So I am what's called a conduit issuer of tax exempt bonds. So what I do is I finance all nonprofit hospitals and healthcare here in Montana. So that's what I do. I just work for nonprofits. Cool. Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate everybody coming. There's probably still a ton of food, so go get some food. So much food.
All right, well, thank you all so much for coming out this evening. It's always a pleasure to see you all. As I said, we are going to be going to Sweden next month, so that's December 4th, and we'll break out the Charlie cart and cook a meal on it together. So feel free to join us earlier, about 5:30-ish, because even if a recipe says it's going to take 20 minutes, it takes me an hour. I just know that now, which is fine. So that's really exciting. That's going to be with Lee Larson, and we're actually going to have Lee a week before that as well. She's going to do the truth about Thanksgiving and talk about all of that. She started a talk here at the library. It's Chats with Lee, she's calling it. So she'll be doing that one the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so come on out for that as well. And then we have Armchair Traveler next month. Oh, and, sorry, I'm like bouncing around. Welcome to my brain. So this month is also the kickoff for Humanities Montana's One Book Montana. Every year they choose a different book as their One Book Montana, and this year's book is Becoming Little Shell by Chris Lutter. So we have a book club. The Very Arbitrary Book Club is going to be hosting the Becoming Little Shell book as their book on November 20th. And then we're actually going to have Chris here on November 20th for an evening program as well. So if you guys want to be a part of that, please feel free. We do have books that you can still check out upstairs if you want to at the front desk. You can just say that you want the Little Shell book, and we'll give it to you at the front desk for the book club. So feel free to join us for that. It's a huge program that's going on. The Great Falls Library is the main, not like sponsor, but we're the hub for all of the book kits in the entire state, so that's super exciting. Humanities Montana chose us to be that hub, so it's just fun. If none of you guys have seen Chris speak before or heard his story, it's really empowering, and Chris is just a super fun guy, so I'm really excited to have him out here. So join us for that. There's always things happening here at the library. If you ever have suggestions for whatever you want to see as well, please let me know. And then we also have another Armchair Traveler sitting in the crowd with us right now. So Courtney Reedy is going to be our January Armchair Traveler. So that's super exciting.
Talking about what?
It's a mystery.
Oh.
I went up to the attendant and said, "Get me on the first flight out of here." So that was my trip. So we have lots happening, lots of fun. Thank you all. Go have more soup, which, yeah, the soup is not something to write home to mom about, but it's still all right. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time.